Hello everyone and welcome to Golden Nova's First Reacts, where I react first to all the things you want to see reacted to first, as long as I'm the first person you come to react to things first. Alliance Insight has brought us a new archetype for us to speculate over. I'm getting a lot of Metaphys vibes out of this one, but not quite. There was some other big, I forget what the exact name was or name of what it was. It was like Lord of the Den or something. It required a monster spell and a trap card to be summoned out. I'm getting a lot of visual vibes from that one, but I'm getting a lot of celestial energy like the Metaphys kind of do, at least in their higher plane iterations of cards. Let's take a look and see what they've got in store. These are looking pretty spicy so far. First up, we have Regenesis Warrior Bereshit, a level 7 Fire Warrior effect monster. 2500 attack and defense. You can only special summon this card with its first effect once per turn, and you can only use the second and third effect of this card's name each once per turn. So none of this is exclusive. If a monster with 2500 original attack or defense is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. Oh, that's a 2500 is a very popular stat line. Quick effect, you contribute this card, then target one monster your opponent controls and return it to the hand. And during your opponent's end phase, if this card is in your graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can add it to your hand. Okay, so that's already pretty goofy. 2500 attack monster that summons itself for free. Quick effect is removal by bouncing, which is bad in some ways because it can refill your opponent's hand, but good in other ways because it gets rid of extra deck monsters in a way that gets around most leaves the field triggers. And then it goes back to your hand during your opponent's end phase. That's now. I guess the point here is that it only triggers if it was sent there this turn during the opponent's end phase. So you can't just link summon this off during your turn or use this as link material during your turn and then expect to get it back. You have to be using this effect, or your opponent destroys it by battle or card effect during your turn, in which case you still get it back. That's pretty good. That is pretty nifty. I would say that's pretty good as a standalone card. If your deck generally has monsters that fit this stat line for the free summon. But this is an archetype. We'll see if maybe we can keep that going with. That's right, Regenesis Sage Shamat, level 7 water spellcaster, 2500 attack and defense. I think I'm starting to see a theme here. It looks like the type and attribute are going to be different, but we got level 7s. And a pretty consistent stat line. Also, don't think that I forgot that you're bringing Dragon Rulers back. Don't think you can sneak that on past me, okay? All right. Same summoning condition. If a monster with 2500 attack or defense that's original is on the field, doesn't need to be your field. Was that the same for that one? Yeah. So if they're just on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. When your opponent activates a card or effect, as a quick effect, you can send one other Regenesis card from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard to negate the activation. And if you do, destroy that card. During your opponent's end phase, if this card is in your graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can add it to your hand. Now, this one does not tribute itself. Rather, it sends other Regenesises from hand or face-up field. It doesn't send from anywhere like the deck, which would have been wild. But this does mean that when you activate this during your opponent's turn, by sending a Regenesis. Well, it says you can send a card. We don't know if the cards will do that, but if you send a monster with this, you will get it back during the end phase if it's your opponent's turn. If you do this during your turn, no dice. But it is an Omni Negate. It even destroys the card. What the heck? That's wild. Okay, well that's a great thing to follow that up with. Regenesis Dragon Vaikra. Oh, okay, maybe they're not all level 7s. We have a level 8 Wind Dragon monster, 2500 attack and defense. You can only special summon this card with the first effect. You can only use the second effect once per turn. Monster with 2500 original attack and defense on the field, special summon this card from your hand. During your opponent's end phase, if this card is in your graveyard, send this turn, you can add it to your hand. But as a quick effect, you contribute this card to target a spell and trap card your opponent controls and banish it. Now that's some pretty nifty removal. And by doing it during our opponent's turn, we can hit things that they've just set, so they're looking to use it during their turn. Pretty funny. Regenesis Archfiend Mid. Level 8 Earth Fiend monster, 2500 attack and defense, has the usual summon from hand effect, has the usual return to hand effect. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add a Regenesis card from your deck or banishment to your hand. Okay. So if any of your cards get stranded in the graveyard, you can summon Bamidbar and get them back. No, wait, my bad. It doesn't do the graveyard. It does deck or banishment. So it's a searcher. And if any of your cards are banished, you can grab them. Which the banishment hasn't been a part of it so far, but we haven't seen what our boss monster does. Maybe it has some kind of chaos, you know, banish your cards from the graveyard to get something out of it kind of deal. We've got one for each element, so except for light or dark. So we've got kind of a original Dragon Order thing going on. We got 2 level 7s, 2 level 8s. Pretty great levels to have on hand for basically any kind of summon. The rank 7 and rank 8 pool is incredible. Having big non-tuners is good for easily getting higher level synchro monsters. This is a pretty good base so far. Okay. Regenesis God Deuteronominion. Deuteronominion. Wait, level 10. Light Illusion. 2500 attack. 2500 defense. If this card is special summoned, you can set a Regenesis. No. Gains 2500 attack from the battle phase only. No. If this card attacks a defense position monster and inflicts piercing battle damage, it doesn't say that it can destroy cards. It can destroy on the battle. No, fake illusion monster. Fake illusion. Fake illusion. Not real. Damn. Come on. Come on. This sucks. Okay. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from the hand by banishing a face-up monster you control with 2500 original attack and the defense. So not or. So this is where Bamidbar comes in. You know, you can special summon this to get back one of your banished Regenesis that are banished for this. Man, come on! You can't be doing this! You set a precedent, designers! We had a whole thing. I let Azamina go, okay? I was willing to part with that. I let Jongler Ghoul go because you had no choice. It was a normal monster, but for God's sakes! It's all here now! This card is special summoned. You can set a Regenesis spell or trap card from your deck. Cool. That you get access to your spells and traps. Gains 2500 attack during the battle phase only, so it's 5000. Honestly, you know, impressive attack stat. And deals piercing battle damage. Ooh. Alright. Man, would have been a really cool effect to go along with monsters can't be destroyed by battle with this card, so you can keep attacking those defense position monsters. Okay. Regenesis, normal spell card. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn each. Take one Regenesis monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. Or, if you control a Regenesis monster, you can add a monster with 2500 attack and the defense from your deck to your hand instead. Okay, so we can't Foolish with this new option, but we can grab any 25/25 monster. This probably means that it lets us grab the friggin' 25th anniversary monsters. Which don't think I haven't noticed that there might be a connection with that on here. I'm going to go back and relook at these because that Winded Dragon looked way too much like Blue Eyes White Dragon for my liking. If this card is in your graveyard except the turn it was sent there, you can banish it to target a Regenesis monster in your graveyard and special summon it. Pretty good. So it's a search card and a revival card on a later turn to get you back into the game. Solid card. Kind of a good framework spell to have for any archetype. Tora Regenesis. They are just going in on... I've been skipping over like the notes on these. But it's another archetype that's like leaning really heavily into Jewish mysticism. So we have Tora Regenesis. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. Quick play spell card. You cannot special summon from the extra deck until the end of the next turn after this card resolves. Also, special summon a Regenesis monster from your deck, but send it to the graveyard during your opponent's end phase, which just basically puts it back in your hand because it's your opponent's end phase. So that's not a problem. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one of your banished Regenesis monsters and special summon it. So like with the original Regenesis, it special summons stuff, but this time it does from the banishment. Okay, so this grabs from... Regenesis grabs from deck. Tora special summons from deck, but it locks you out of extra deck usage. So it wants to discourage you from using the extra deck. Although this is the only card that's really restricted any kind of summon, so maybe we don't play this, or maybe we play this sparingly. What I do know is that the way they've worded this, there's no way to get around the summon lock by doing it during our opponent's turn because it will check until the end of the next one. So, don't think you can be sneaky with this. Okay, last card, Regenesis Birth. You can only use one of the first and second effect of this card's name per turn, only once per turn. That is currently the only one that we have so far that is a mutually exclusive effect. Continuous trap card. You can send one Regenesis monster from your deck to the graveyard, then target a face-up monster your opponent controls and change it to face-down defense position. During your opponent's turn, you can send this face-up card from your spell and trap zone to the graveyard to special summon as many Regenesis monsters with different names as possible from your hand and or banishment, but send them to the graveyard during the end phase. Okay, so there's a big emphasis on throwing these guys into the graveyard, which of course is good because if you do this during your opponent's turn, it's effectively adding them to your hand. So that's why things care about sending them to the graveyard. In this case, you have a repeatable Book of Moon, which is a fantastic effect to have. Shuts down almost any kind of summoning method. You can't exceed summon with face down cards. You can't sync with them. You can't link with them. You can fuse with them, but you can, or depending on what their protections are, you can flip down the monster they're going to make with that, or the made monster with the fusion, and then it has a way to effectively escape from the different dimension your monsters onto the board, and then of course they'll get sent to the graveyard, but then they go back to your hand because it's only during your opponent's turn that you can do that. So there's no other time that you can do that. I guess the only problem with these the things where it sends it to the graveyard where it won't catch is of course if you have more than one copy of each, because I think that returning to hand was a hard once per turn effect, which it should be, but that's not an issue. Okay, so Fire Warrior. I guess I might be looking too into this. This has like Fleur de Lis armor energy, but it's like not it. It just has like kind of energy to it. But I mean, like what that would be Flame Swordsman. This would be Dark Magician, but this would be Blue Eyes, and this would be I don't even know what this would be. It's giving Armed Dragon more than anything, to be honest. Though it is kind of like a skeletal fiend thing. I might be reading too much into this, but what I do know is that because these things care about the 2500 attack mark and the defense mark, they very clearly have synergy with those 25th anniversary cards. You've probably seen them around, the ones that are like not retrains, but like they're basically representations of Dark Magician and Girl and Blue Eyes and like the Dragon Knight, who all have like 2500 attack and defense that gain 2500 more if you like someone's graveyard has 25 or more cards in it. This is like a playable framework for those cards to go into if you want to. So these are fine. I mean, I know what's kind of going off my rocker about this, them returning back to the hand. And I could see some nasty stuff randomly working with these, but I can't think of anything specific off the top of my head. I'd have to remember off the top of my head archetypes that have 2500 attack or defense that would care about having spare monsters like this. But their effects are good. Like, what do we have? We have a bounce. We have an Omni Negate. That's pretty goofy. Spell and Trap, Banishing. And then we have Search/Revival. And then we have a big boss monster that effectively just punches real good. It does set any of these three, which I would presume, Regenesis Birth is kind of our go-to on that one because we set up a way to put them into our hand for later turns. Turns into a 2500 attack monster. Turns into a 5000 attack monster when it matters. Yeah, I think. But it's not blowing my mind. It's cool. It's nifty. I'm looking forward to seeing what it does, but, easy to deploy does not mean a grotesquely powerful engine. Maybe there's a deck that natively has the requirements to summon this out as like a sub-theme, but as its own deck, I don't think it's got the chops for it. Yeah, so that's Regenesis. I should have pulled these up previously, but I kind of forgot. There's also a few other cards that were released. I'm going to go over those really quickly while I've got you here, while I can steal you away. Because I don't want to make videos off of these like singleton ones. I guess two I made an exception for the Serpent Knight Dragon one because it was Serpent Knight Dragon. First up of these little incidental cards is Yukano Mitsune no Tamayura. It's Ukano Mitsune no Tamayura. A level 3 light beast tuner monster, 1500 attack, 300 defense. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn each. If you control a level 4 or lower light, plant, beast, or fairy monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, and a monster synchro summoned using this card gains the following effects. It gains 500 defense, and your opponent cannot target this defense position monster with card effects. This is a V-Jump promo that is meant to work with the new Ancient Fairy Dragon support. If any of you missed my coverage on that one or haven't seen it before, the whole idea of the deck is to make a new version of Ancient Fairy Dragon that allows monsters that mention Ancient Fairy Dragon to attack while in defense position, and if under their cards like punish you for having attack position monsters as an homage to Luna's original field spell that would like destroy monsters if they attacked. So this is actually a pretty interesting addition here. It's a tuner. Pair it with any of your level 4 monsters. Plant, beast, fairy, light monsters are kind of the theming for that little Ancient Fairy Dragon situation. If you have any level 3, any level 4 of those on the board, you pop this out of your hand. That's 7. You immediately get it. And if you and they just get a stronger defense, which is good because they are allowed to attack in defense position while you have the big boss monster out. So I say this is solid, especially in such a weird sphere of influence as light beast, light plants, and light fairies, which I don't think there are very many of those. Any little piece of support is going to help them. So hopefully this gets imported with them or as close as possible to them when these hit the TCG, because this could use the playables. Looking forward to seeing how this helps the deck out. This is a very fun addition. Dogorado, the Moving Stone Relic, is a Link 3 Earth Rock monster with 1000 attack. It's got top, bottom left, and bottom right arrows. Requires 2 or more monsters, including a rock monster. If this card is special summoned, you can target a rock monster in your graveyard, and this card gains the attack of that monster. And during your opponent's main phase, as a quick effect, you can target one other monster on the field with attack equal to or less than this card's attack. This card loses attack equal to that monster's, and if it does, destroy that monster. So if you have a monster with, let's say, 3,000 attack in your graveyard, you link into this, target that one, it gains 3,000, so it's a 4,000 attack monster. And then if your opponent has a monster with 2,000 attack, you can quick effect, target it. You lose 2,000 attack on here, so it goes down to a 2,000 attack monster, and then it pops it. So you are literally consuming your you're consuming your own attack points to destroy monsters, which, you know, that's a fine piece of spot removal. Get a monster big enough in your graveyard. I mean, most of the synchro monsters for Adamancipator are at least 2,000, so you can hit just about anything with this. The problem is the follow-up, right? Like, at that point, it gets super weak. If it survives long enough, you can link it off. I kind of want there to be a way to special summon this card again. Maybe do some kind of Zealantis nonsense with it. But I think that's way too way too much of a pipe dream. I don't think that's possible to get a handle on that one. This is goofy. This is funny. Don't think we'll be seeing a lot of play. Maybe a rock deck every now and then will plug this just as a way to put some interaction on a board that otherwise doesn't have any protection. Otherwise expect to see it in your chaff bin. And then this one was pointed out to me. I completely missed over this when it was released. Ferociously Angered Sabersaurus. Sabersaurus is back, folks. We're remembering the old classics. I would have preferred a retrain of the Sneezy Hippo myself, but here we are. Ferociously Angered Sabersaurus, rank 4 Fire Dinosaur, Xyz monster, 2,000 attack, 600 defense, requiring any 2 level 4 monsters as material. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn each. You can detach a material from this card to destroy a dinosaur monster in your hand or face-up field. Then you can change the battle position of one monster on the field. And at the start of the damage step, if your other dinosaur monster battles, you can destroy this card, and if you do, that dinosaur monster gains 2,000 attack until the end of the battle phase. I think this card is just fine. Dinosaurs having another way to get a destroy effect is pretty good, and it lives in the extra deck, so it is highly accessible. While it doesn't happen, well, to my recollection, it doesn't happen often. All the Dino players down below, you can let me know if this is actually something that needs fixing. But sometimes you just draw Baby Ceratosaurus or Petit Pteranodon, and there's no good way to destroy it. So you're stuck with a big brick. and no way to actually use it. Ferociously Angered Sabersaurus gives you a way to turn your Oviraptors and Giant Rexes into a way to pop monsters. You can change the battle position of any monster on the field, so you can change its own. It doesn't require your opponent to have a monster, so if push comes to shove, you summon this in defense position and then change it to attack position with its own effect. So that's pretty good. And then this last effect here where it gives its 2000 attack to a dinosaur monster until the end of the battle phase. It destroys itself. I don't know if there's cards that benefit when other dinosaur monsters are destroyed, but there's another that can help you, another venue to trigger those kind of effects. But what I like is that you can attack with the Ferociously Angered Sabersaurus first to get the ping in, and then you can have your other dinosaur monster attack, and then you destroy Angered Sabersaurus to transfer that over. So you get to double dip a little bit. That's something that I think Cyber Dragon Seeger doesn't necessarily let you do. So this is something that it does let you get away with. Very funny. Very good utility piece. I don't think it's going to have a massive impact on dinosaurs, but it's going to be helpful to them all the same. And that catches us up with all of the nifty cards that have been announced so far. I'm looking forward to seeing what Regenesis gets up to. I keep thinking, wow, 2500 attack or defense. What an incredible stat line for Albaz. And then I see that the quick play spell doesn't want us to use the extra deck, which I guess we can avoid running and just play everything else. But then I wonder what it actually does for it. Our materials in here aren't super useful. I mean, you can do it with a few things, right? These are 2500 attack or higher monsters for Titaniclad. They're level 8 monster. I forget what it is. I forget what the threshold for Brigrand is. I think Brigrand is a level threshold, and I think it's level 8. We have a couple level 8s for Brigrand. We do have a dragon. That's funny. But I'm sure there's other things. Blue Eyes White Dragon, of course, has 2500 defense. Dark Magician has 2500 attack. So Neos has 2500 attack. It could be anything. It could literally be anything. So let me know what archetypes you think can splash Regenesis in. I'm curious to see if there's actually some really good themes to put them in. And until the next time Konami decides to drop some juicy spoilers, I will see all of you next time. Bye-bye. Today's episode is brought to you by Dragon Shield. Get the sleeves as strong as dragon scales and get 5% off your order by using the coupon code GoldenNova at checkout. It was also brought to you by my lovely patrons, including this month's illustrious Quasar Commanders Upstairs Media and the Critic of Innocence, Nebula Navigator's Third Dynasty, 50 Gigabytes, Ada Basilisk, Adam Zajdel, Ancient Wizard, Andrew Newman, Battle Axe, Kane Senpai, Chibi Gohan, Christopher Fuss, Clockswork, Comrade Copperbottom, Eric, Frankie, Garland Chaos, Going It/Its for the Bit/Bits, Great Big Pillock, Hair Bear, Happy Majin, Harry the Ominous Benefactor, Iron Zero, Iskander 711, Carp, Marion James E. Picata, Millennia Asta, Muse Clark, Neon Yami Nair, Orozco 09096, Panther J, Bat Boos, Rank 10 Trains, Rebel King Lucifer, Red Eyes Jackalow, RJ the Jank Monarch, Thievery Coast and the Wizard Moose, Cosmic Crusaders Ally Vatnia, Animasta, Baron Von Titty Sprinkles, Beelzephyr, Fish, Beluga Masta, Blitzwolf, Caesar M, Chazghost, Dr. Reaper, R.I.P., Eva Padilla, Gary Lick Bread, Hike Boyagian, Herbal D, Inblink, Kale the Dragon, Lobomaru 02, Manga Pages, Matt Simmons, McSpoofy, Natiel Lee Alexander, Nitromo, Not Al Gore, Nyx, Obsidian, Rainer Leong, Ryan Kairos, Shizuka Nijimura, Sir Knight JCB, Sophie, apparently, Sphilia, Stephen Williamson, The Legendary Raven, The Phantom Knights of Shitted Pants, The Gene, Tiger X2476, Weasel King of Weaseltown, and Zal Dreka, as well as all the wonderful Starlight Explorers you see on screen now. If you'd like to help me in my journey to cover all of Yu-Gi-Oh's archetypes, get my videos early, be a part of these credits and other awesome perks, it would mean the world to me if you would check out the link to my Patreon in the description or consider joining as a YouTube member.